All right, this Titans defense is where we are at right now, and we're gonna start with, well, obviously the D line. The defensive end will be Alvin Bethea, um, left end, right end, whatever. But he's the first guy here. He's a Hall of Famer. He's an 8-time Pro Bowler. Didn't record any sacks, and because it was the 60s and 70s and early 80s, they didn't start recording sacks till I think 1985. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, no, this was a guy that wreaked havoc, though, from just watching his film, watching his highlights. He was the guy that could get to the quarterback and was very effective. And, a guy that can force some chaos, force fumbles, and, make that hustle plays and jump on those fumbles that someone does force and get it back to the offense. So I do believe Evan Bethea is going to be very huge for this defense. This D-line is definitely going to look to him to be a leader. The nose tackle is going to be Albert Haynesworth. For this defense, it's going to be a 3-4. So having Bethea there and having a guy in the middle named Albert Haynesworth, let me tell you, before he had that lucrative contract and then pretty much it just seemed like he just wasn't about football anymore. When he moved to Washington, when he was a Tennessee Titan, he played his butt off, and he earned himself really to being known as being one of the best D tackles in the league at the time. He was a 2-time All-Pro and a 2-time Pro Bowler, back-to-back 07-08. This is a guy, like I said, was playing his butt off and was trying to recognize himself as one of the best D tackles, and really he was one of the best D tackles in those years until he moved to Washington. Then everything just changed. He just wasn't the same, didn't play the same, just didn't play with that heart, or pretty much whatever he needed to being back to Albert Haynesworth, he just wasn't. So overall, that's sad, but for this segment, we're going to talk about his Titans days, and they were fantastic, and just a great sack artist too for a defensive tackle. But yeah, you want Havoc, Bethea, and Haynesworth together, that's scary. All right, DN Javon Curse is going to be on the other side. This is a freak of a guy, 3-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Really, at his rookie year, he was already like that. Like his rookie year, he had 14.5 sacks. He was, he was an All-Pro, he was a Pro Bowl already. Like he was ready to go. And it's unfortunate because he had 3 fantastic years, then kind of injury swept. But at the same time, he was able to get a career 74 career sacks with over 300 tackles, and a guy that played over 100 games. He was able to force 28 fumbles and deflect 22 passes and recover 4 fumbles. He was a guy that was very, very, very valuable to the Tennessee Titans, and played all 11 years of his career as a Tennessee Titan. So Javon Curse is a freak of a man, strong guy, and I think this D-line is scary to me. So I think it's going to be very fun to watch these 3 play up front. All right, at the outside linebacker position, we're going to start out with Robert Brazil. Sorry if I mispronounced that name. 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. A guy that was fantastic for the Houston Oilers in the 70s, early 80s. And a guy that can get after it, a guy that barely missed games. He definitely was healthy, and he definitely was productive when he played for the Houston Oilers. And I think he's going to bring that same exact thing to this organization, Tennessee Titans overall, because that's what they are now. But I think, his experience and his level of play, along with the pass rushing, I just think that's honestly, this is like a under the radar team, under the radar defense. Actually, this defense has the ability, putting up a lot of sack totals, and really just wrecking a lot of other offenses' days. At the inside linebacker position, we're going to have Reg Bingham. He played inside position his entire career. Once was middle linebacker, but he played from age of 22 to 33, all with Houston. Very reliable source, definitely, and played pretty much every game. Was very consistent. I think he's going to bring leadership to the table. The only problem is, never been a Pro Bowler, never been one of the best linebackers in the league, but he's smart. He's a smart football player that can really pump up that team and pump up the defense, and I think it'll work in the end. I think they'll do some good things out there. If you're looking for, you got a leadership that's smart with a talented inside linebacker in Keith Bullock that's going to get a lot of the majority of the tackles. It's a one-time Pro Bowler, and it's an All-Pro. It's a guy that, he can get it done. Keith Bullock is just actually growing up, one of my favorite linebackers growing up was Keith Bullock. Just a tackle machine, can get to the QB, can do everything as a middle linebacker, as a linebacker in general. Just a typical linebacker that's ready to play, playing with heart. Like, honestly, I really enjoy Keith Bullock. His presence is, felt enough on this team. I think they will definitely be very appreciative that he is on this team. And like I said, between both of them, Keith Bullock is the better inside linebacker. I just, I know that Bingham is going to bring that veteran leadership, that the ability to be like, all right, guys, this is what we're doing. This is how we got to play. This is, what we got to do. It's a nice thing to see that you're going to have a leader, but you're also going to have talent with it. So it's a mixed bag, and I like it. Now, last but not least, outside linebacker is going to be Ted Washington, and it's a guy that played 9 years, played them all in Houston as an Oiler. Had his ups and downs, but definitely he's one of those guys that you want out on the field. He was energetic. He was good to go. He was playing. He can ball out. So not much more else than that. I'm not expecting Ted Washington to just be a guy that's superstar status, but I expect him to play some good football. And he's gonna be improving every single day when he plays with Keith Bullock, with Bingham, with guys like these, with Bethea at the line, with Cris, with Haynesworth. They're all just cooperating their energy, and they're all going to come together into defense and become fantastic. And having the other outside linebacker being Rizzo, I believe, I think it's going to work. All right, now secondary wise, important, and their first corner is going to be Cris Dishman. Cris Dishman played for the Houston Oilers from 1988 all the way to 96, and then moved to Washington and then Kansas City, Minnesota. But he was primarily a corner for those Houston Oilers / Tennessee Titans. 2-time Pro Bowler and All-Pro. Definitely good for his size for the most part. Can get picks. Was a pretty good corner. Honestly, he was a really, really good corner. He picked off 31 passes while he was in Houston. And his career is 43. So you can see his days was definitely in Houston. Definitely productive. Can tackle. The usual. Fumble recoveries, forced fumbles. That's pretty much it. He's pretty good corner position. I think he'll definitely make this secondary look pretty good. All right, the other corner is going to be Samari Rolle. Samari Rolle, an All-Pro and a Pro Bowler, and a guy that played for Tennessee from 1998 to 2004. Just pretty awesome guy overall. Was able to get many interceptions, I would say. At a time can get 17 he was able to get a lot of deflections, a lot of fumble recoveries, just a lot of picks. Overall, just a lot. So honestly, I do believe that this guy will be productive for them. He had a combined 23 interceptions in 7 years, so not a guy that's a ball hawk kind of guy, but not terrible. But no, I do believe in him. I think Rolle and Dishman will be pretty good together on one side of the football and the other side of the football. But they are gonna have to face some pretty angry receivers, some legendary ones. So, all right, free safety position. It's gonna be Mike Reinfeld. Mike Reinfeld is a Super Bowl champion, is a Pro Bowler, an All-Pro. He won a Super Bowl, I believe, with Oakland. I believe it was Oakland. But yeah, this is a guy that had a pretty short career, to be quite honest with you. Started out in Oakland, and then he went to Houston and stayed in Houston his entire career after that. There was that one year where he had 12 interceptions in the year. That was fantastic. That's something else. It's pretty good. But yeah, no, this is not a bad guy. I think he's gonna do some good things. Not the best free safety, but I think he'll try to help him out. He's definitely gonna need some help from the strong safety that I have. That is pretty legendary. So, and that's gonna be strong safety Ken Houston. Ken Houston is a Hall of Fame defensive back. 12-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro. Will definitely be a great mentor to Roll, to Dishman, and essentially to Reinfeld, so they can play better as a secondary. You need one guy. You just need that one guy that's a leader that's going to help them out to get better, to play as a unit, and that's going to be Ken Houston, a guy that does absolutely everything. In his career, had 49 interceptions, so not bad. He was able to be active with the football. Was a Houston Oiler for 8 years, or 6 years, and he was 8 years in Washington. So that's something. That's some news if you would like to hear that. So he might end up on more than just the Houston list, or the Houston Tennessee list. He might end up on the Washington list, but you're gonna stay tuned for that one. But yeah, Ken Houston, he's legendary. He's one of the best, in my opinion, one of the best safeties of all time. I would say definitely top 10 strong safety of all time. Yes, he would definitely be in that conversation. And yeah, that's going to be pretty good to see. All right, now their kicker is going to be Rob Bironas. Rob Bironas is a one-time Pro Bowler, an All-Pro kicker that kicked for the Tennessee Titans all of his career, and retired in 2013. Unfortunately, died. He died in 2014 at the age of 36. I'm pretty sure he was going to play that year, but yeah, ended up dying at the age of 36, 1 year after stopped playing. It's amazing. Yeah, Rob Bironas is fantastic. A guy that had an average of 85.7 field goal percentage, had a 99.4 extra point percentage, and yeah, it was pretty good for 50 plus. I mean, out of 34 50-plus field goals that he had to make, 24 of them went in. That's fantastic. So overall, just a fantastic guy. First of all, rest in peace. He's going to be missed. A guy that was very much a big part of the Tennessee Titans, and pretty successful. And I got to give it to him to be on this team. And punter is going to be Craig Hendrick. Hendrick was a 2-time Pro Bowler, an All-Pro, as well as a Super Bowl champion. The Green Bay Packers. He ended up playing for 4 years of Green Bay, and then he ended his career with the Tennessee Titans when he went there from 1998 and stayed there for 12 years in Tennessee. So he ended his last 12 years in Tennessee, racking up a lot of great numbers. Pretty much was able to get over almost 50,000 punt yards. A guy that had with Tennessee around 36,000 plus. And a guy that only got blocked once in Tennessee. I mean, that's fantastic. During his 12-year career, only getting blocked once, averaging about 42.9 yards a punt. Honestly, just overall, pretty decent fellow. Yeah, great guy. Great puncher. Their best punter, definitely, in their entire organization, history-wise. And yeah, I think it's going to work out. I think the special teams will definitely work out in a pretty good way. So the return man is going to be Mark Mariani. Mark Mariani is 30 now. I don't think he plays anymore, to be honest with you. But yeah, he's a one-time Pro Bowler. He played in Tennessee. Out of the 6 years he played in the league, he played 4 years in them in Tennessee, and pretty decent player. He did get some punt return touchdowns. He had kick return touchdowns. He was able to, really be a pretty big asset to them in Chicago as well. But yeah, no. Overall, as a player, fantastic. And when you needed him, he can definitely get a couple receptions in there. He was definitely better in Chicago, receiving wise. He doesn't really get many receptions, of course. He was definitely a kick returner, so that's why I'm putting him on there. But I feel like if they had to line him up, for a quick play, I'd say you get pretty good chance of getting a few yards in there. But he's not a receiver really. He's mostly just not a bad punter, or not a bad returner. So yeah, I think it'll work. All right, now the coach of the Titans, I put Jeff Fisher. I think Jeff Fisher will do wonders for this team. I honestly believe so, just because he's coached the pretty much the Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans for 17 years, and now he's with the Rams. But you're looking at a guy that, or was with the Rams, sorry. But you're looking at a guy that, he led him to, I believe, 11 playoff appearances as part of the Tennessee Titans. Had a 5-6 record. Average pretty much in that division. He always led them to about a second ranking in the division. He was able to have about 142 wins in 262 games that he coached. And overall, no, it was not all roses. It was not all just really nice grass in there, green grass. It was a challenging time for them. But he did give them to a Super Bowl. Titans didn't go to a Super Bowl before he did, so he got him to an AFC title, and he got him to the Super Bowl, and they lost. They could have went to overtime, but definitely one of the best plays to ever view. It just gives you chills when you see how close the team can be to winning it all. But yeah, I think Jeff Fisher, I think he deserves his recognition as being the coach of the Titans. I think with the roster he has, they can definitely get to the playoffs, and I think they can make something out of it. Their return man, definitely question. Some other guys are in question, but I still feel like they'd make something happen.